All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Stock Analysis Friday. We're going to get started in about 2 minutes. And just want to do a quick audio check, make sure the audio is A-OK. And then we'll get started promptly at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Okay, audio checks out A-OK, very good. I'm going to put a little music on and we'll come back on at 8, about 2 minutes. All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Stock Analysis Friday. Today is October 13th. Gee, Friday 13th. Lucky Friday, right? 2023, so welcome, everybody. All right, I'm going to go through some administrational things that I usually go through every week, and then while I'm doing that, feel free to type in any symbols you want me to look up. Just type them in caps for us, okay? It makes it easier, and hope everybody's doing good out there. All right, so first thing I want to talk a little bit about are the risks involved in trading. Like I always say, without that risk, there is no opportunity. So the two really do go hand in hand, but you need to be aware of the risks in trading. So please make sure you're trading with money you can afford to risk, called risk capital. Also know how to do calculations of trade size. We can help you with that. I'll show you some books in a minute that I have out that will be really good for you if you need help in that area. And then also, too, when we look at stocks today and things of that nature, and I give you a opinion of the analysis I do on it, remember that it is my opinion, okay? And so definitely run by any of the possibilities by your financial advisor to be sure they're suitable for you. We don't know your personal situation, and of course they do. Past performance in the markets do not guarantee future performance, and it is possible to lose some or all your money trading the financial markets. Also, too, realize that we work in a realm of probabilities, not certainties. So even though you have an edge in the market, you may not win all the time, of course. All right, so here's a couple books here on money management that I think probably everybody should have in their library. successful trading is not only about entries and exits, it's about calculating your trade size so your losses are controlled, know where to get out, and things like that. We address those topics in those books on money management. My newest book, The Art of Trading, coming out soon. That's the second edition. First edition was out in 2008, so we're kind of due. And my publisher asked me to, of course, write a second edition on that. And I think it's going to be the best book I've ever written because there's a lot of great new information. We've come out with some new software as well since our first edition. So definitely you can pick that up. And I'll put the links in the recording of this that you can simply order, go online, order from our Amazon page. Also, too, we have software we're going to be using. So if you're new here, you may see things that we have on our charts. I'll go over that a little bit before we get going. But there's certain icons that our software draws on the chart. Some of them are called the ART systems, pyramid trading points, ART reversals. We have the OWL, the PTF and TLM and ERI indicators as well on the bottom of each chart. And then we also scan for the market using our scanners. That's the middle row. And then the bottom row is all about risk control. So because we try to integrate entries and exits, stop losses, risk control, and scanning, we pretty much cover all the major bases you need to cover with software. So that's why we call it the ultimate trading system. All right, and finally, like, subscribe, and share. And if you give us a like right now, that would be great. But also share us with people that you know, because the more people we get to come here, the better. All right, let's go ahead and come out of here and go into the first chart I do want to show you, and that's TLT. So before I get into this, let me just go over quickly what you're looking at here. All right, this is our software loaded on 3 different charts. So on the far left, we have a 60-minute chart, and this equals the short-term aspect of whatever we look at. In the middle, we have the daily chart, and this gives us the intermediate aspect of the market we're looking at. And then on the far right, we have the weekly chart, which is the long-term aspect. So notice the symbol is the same on all 3 charts and will be for any of the stocks you want me to look up. And the idea behind that is this is called a form of analysis called multiple time frame analysis. And I love it because it gives me a glimpse on any market I look up, whether the short term, intermediate, and long term are in sync, out of sync, and that of course helps me with timing a trade. So that's what we'll see on every chart. Then in addition to the actual time frames, you'll notice these little triangular patterns on all the chart. So what we've done is we've loaded our software on all 3 charts. And these are pyramid trading points. They always point in the direction of the current trend. So you can see it's down here, but now reversed temporarily and down here. At the bottom here is the OWL. This measures momentum in the markets. It's a histogram. We use it to help us count the Elliott wave, which is another form of technical analysis. And it also, of course, measures momentum. And we can look for bullish and bearish divergences using that as well. And then here we have the PTF. This is a great and simple little indicator to use. Basically, it's 3 colors. It's red, yellow, or green. And when it's red, it's indicating more lows coming. When it's green, it's indicating more highs coming. And when it's yellow, it's neutral. And it has about a 75% probability, so it's pretty accurate. And then we have the TLM, which is the trend line master. Notice it's red here, obviously. This automatically draws trend lines on your chart, so you don't have to, and picks the key points to do it. And it's indicating red because there are many trend lines still in place. And then at the bottom, we have a fear and greed monitor here. So when you get a fear bar here, all right, if the market takes out the bottom of that, it's going down. If it takes out the top, it's going up. So definitely a great indicator to help us see what happens after that fear and greed bar actually forms. Then at the top, we have our scanners running. We won't be using those today because you're going to be giving me individual stocks. And I just wanted to give you the layout. All right, before we get going, quick thing here. All right, so TLT is the ETF for bonds. And notice that the PTFs, my eyes go right to the PTFs first. They're red. Well, what does that tell me? It tells me that the low is not in yet on TLT. So I don't want to be a buyer here, a long-term buyer here. Now, can you trade to the upside, take a bullish trade for a correction? Yeah, possibly. But it's not the preferred trade because you usually do not want to go against that PTF. So I would not be buying this market. If you're short, okay, you can still hold it because on the 1 minute time frame, all right, if you're trading this time frame, your stop is right at the top of that pyramid because those flat parts of the pyramid are the levels we put our stop. And those pyramids only form on key fractals in the market and take into account momentum. If you're short-term trading, the 15-second, you'd be out buying. All right. So a little bit longer term, you'd be in, and that's a good thing. I'll give this a chance maybe to pull up and then head back down again. And if it turns yellow, then you can think about taking profits at that time. But TLT, do not go into that quite yet. All right, let's take a look at gold. Gold's doing really good this morning. All right, we'll quickly take a look at that bad boy. So we had gold coming down, and we had a target level. You can see on that 1 minute time frame here, and we hit that target, and now we're bouncing back off it. So my only situation here with this is that this is red, indicating that this bounce should not take out the high here and probably will come back down. But we'll see if that turns to green before that happens. And if that's the case, then we can go ahead and take a long trade on that. So for right now, we do think eventually gold will make another high, but short term, it's a little iffy right now. So you kind of want to keep an eye on that. USO is the ETF for crude oil. Let's take a look at that. Again, it came down, it's jumped back off there, but we have a red PTF on the 60-minute chart. So let's see if that stays red. Again, we're bullish long term, but short term, I think we're going to go back into the target zone in here. All right, so I don't think USO is quite a buy yet, but if you're in it long term, you need to have your stop low enough not to get stopped out. So the market overall is down a tidbit right now, and we've got the NASDAQ down as well. All right, not surprising considering all the turmoil going on in the Middle East. All right, not good over there. All right, so that's where we are with that. And let's see if we can think of any others. How about silver? All right, silver is another ETF that is good to look at. And we don't think silver, all right, is quite a buy yet because we still have a red PTF on the 1 minute time frame. So you can see that here. It was red here, but now it's abruptly turned green, so it has rebounded. So it needs a little more follow through before I can get excited about that. And that follow through has got to change the PTF on the 1 minute from a red to green. Otherwise, looks like we may come back down again on silver. So it looks like in some markets, probably the reasoning behind this is basically we're seeing a situation in the Middle East, which is causing fear, of course, okay, across the country. And I think that's causing the metals and, of course, oil, because it's the Middle East, all rising. But these charts indicate so far that that is a reaction or a knee-jerk reaction to what's going on. And it looks like maybe after things settle down, hopefully they will over there, that these markets will come back down. And I think that's what the PTFs are saying on the 1 minute or on the daily chart there. Okay, so there it is. All right, special shout out. We've got Jim here. How you doing, Jim? All right, good to have you here. We got Stuart. Hi, Stuart. How are you doing? All right, and welcome everybody. Okay. All right, so if you got any picks, type them in. Okay. Let's take a look at Google here. All right, here's Google. This is one of the tech stock leaders. So in terms of an Elliott wave count, I'm going to open up this very, very big chart here. So what we've got here is it looks like a 3, a 4, and a wave 5, and that's an Elliott wave term. So Elliott wave basically says that trends are consistent of 5 waves. And there's more history to this, so probably 1 and 2 are down here someplace. But you have usually your biggest, most dramatic move is wave 3. All right. Then you have a wave 4 pullback. That's profit taking and things like that that occur after a big move. And now you have the stock selling off to a point here where people start getting interested in it. And that includes traders and investors. So then it begins to rise. So wave 5 goes above wave 3 eventually. And at that particular point, when we reach a top on wave 5, which we usually can find through a fib extension, then at that particular point, we have the end of the trend. So I'm thinking a lot of the tech stocks to me look like they've got more room to go because many of them are in a wave 5 right now on the long-term charts. That doesn't mean we can't come up here, pull back, and then go forward again. So that certainly is the way the markets work. You know, they zig and they zag. There's impulsive moves and then some profit taking, then some more impulsive moves until the trend finally ends. So I think we got some more room on this. What I find interesting with this is that, you know, we're expecting a big sell-off in the market, but on most NASDAQ stocks, including the index, it's still looking pretty good. All right. So I think it's going to be a little longer before the market starts to do some significant selling. It's done some, but it hasn't been significant enough for us to really start saying we're heading down to a specific target zone. So that's kind of where we are with Google, and I think you'll find that for most like Amazon or any of those out there as well. All right. All right, so let's take a look, Jim, for you at UNG. Let me put you up there. Okay, there you are. All right, so UNG is the ETF for natural gas. All right, so this is actually one we like. All right, I actually like natural gas. A little bit of a pullback here. You can see it on the short-term time frame here a little bit. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of a pullback here. Usually like to have this green indicating the pullback is over before just jumping in. But in terms of a long-term trade, if you go to this chart over here, we're looking at a target probably in this area here, which is a fib retracement level. So I'm thinking probably around $15 to $21 is our target, and that's between the two blue lines right there. All right. And so you're at $7.55. So that's a double your money type of trade. All right. So what do you do with this? Do you just go into it now? You could. All right. Just make sure if you go into it now, your stop's going to be at the very bottom. So that means it's got to be way down here at this time. We have not cleared this price bar here. So I'm a little reluctant to have you put your stop here until that happens. So once that clears, then if you want to move your stop up a tad, you can. But I think the probabilities of a bottom here on UNG are really good. And I don't see any red PTFs. They're all neutral. That's okay. All right. So I think probably we can take a trade on UNG even today on that if you put your stop low enough. Okay. Just don't have it so close like here or right here, because if you get any type of pullback before it goes, it can take those closer stop loss levels out quickly. So you got to be careful with that. Okay. All right. Very good. So let's put that on the buy list. Okay. I think UNG can go on the buy list. All right, Stuart, let's see what you've got. ZM. We have looked at ZM quite a bit, and Stuart's wanting to know, is it time to sell it? All right. Well, let's take a look. Now, I think we had mentioned before when we looked at this that this would be a long-term play, because obviously here, okay, at this particular point, you've got red here and red here. You got red here now. So at this point here, you need to have your stop at the very bottom. You'd still be in it. You're so close now. I don't know. You did get stopped out. If you had your stop on the pyramid, you'd be gone. Okay. So it's going to go a little lower. So it'll be interesting to see if that bottom holds. Now, when we try to get in early, one of the things you always have to realize is that sometimes we get in a little too early and we get stopped out and have to try again. So it's kind of like bottom picking. Bottom picking is very difficult. So you kind of have to have a kind of a tough skin to do it. And in this case here, I would not recommend this now because of the red PTF currently in the market's coming down. But we'll see if this bottom holds. All right, we'll see if this bottom holds because this PTF here, all right, will probably in another hour turn to yellow. So we may get a bottom that holds. So let me just draw a more clearer line down here so you can kind of see what I'm saying. See, there's the bottom. So it definitely kind of looks like it could hit there, but I've seen things come very close. You get a double bottom and then it takes off. Now, if the bottom does not hold, I would not, all right, I'd get out of the market, but I'd keep this on a watch list because the next bottom's around the corner and that may be the one that turns out really good. So sometimes it takes a couple times. All right, so I would not sell out yet, but I would be have my stop ready to take me out if that bottom gets hit. All right, let's take a look at some of your others here. So you got Ford, F. All right, let's see what the charts are telling us on Ford. All right, so Ford has a situation here. Let's get all the markers here set up. All right, so Ford, basically we had kind of said Ford was coming down, right? And then it hit the target zone for this pullback. And it's been kind of bouncing around. That's kind of an unusual situation because normally when it hits that target zone, you get this kind of movement, that kind of movement, and then it goes. So this is kind of unusual, but welcome to the markets. All right, so what do you do in a case like this? Well, if you're long already, because you might have been long here, right? All right, like we recommended, you got to have that stop at the bottom. Okay, you would be definitely still in the market if you did that. Now, again, you don't like to have your money tied up that long, right? But sometimes that does happen. So in this case here, what you need to do is keep firm on your stop. And if that is the bottom, this thing eventually will go to the upside. And we do have a green PTF on the long-term chart. So that is the forecast. The problem is it needs to go higher before we get stopped out. All right. So that's the key level. So that's my analysis on Ford. I'm not going to recommend it yet because today anyway, because we have a red owl on all three time frames. So let's wait for that to turn around yet. Make sure that bottom's in. All right, next good one is INTU. All right, so we're bullish on INTU, and we like it a lot. We think eventually, kind of like when we looked at Google there, we think this is going higher. Okay, this is in the tech industry, so 3, 4, 5 here as well. All right, so we think that is going up. Target on this, let's try to pick a spot here, way back when. This is all part of wave 3, this big move. So if we go up here and grab some extensions rather, let's try to figure out, I think maybe here might be the right spot. We got here, and then we come down here. So my target on INTU for a long-term hold is between $761 and $1,019, and we're at 535. So there's still some room for that to go. All right, again, here's the problem with this is that right now we've had a fairly nice move off its retracement bottom. So, you know, getting in here, you got to make sure your stop's no too close if you're trying to get to this target here because you're going to get profit taking coming in. All right, now the pyramids did a great job getting you in here and getting you up here, but now, you know, your stop on a short-term trade would be right here. Long-term trade, it's got to be pretty far down. All right, so that's the only thing. You might want to use an option on this, but we are bullish, okay? And so far not been stopped out, okay, on that. All right, so that is a good one. All right, Al, how are you doing? All right, Coinbase. Let's take a look at Coinbase, C-O-I-N, and Coinbase is a crypto. All right, so we've looked at this one before, right? All right, so let's take a look at this. All right, so we had a little bit of a move down. Then we had a big move up. It hit the target, and now it's kind of drifting sideways. So we can remove this from our previous situation. All right. And at this particular point, we're basically locked into the mess of a bottoming market, which is kind of what we're seeing here. So a roly-poly. We think we got a bottom here. Okay, so that's a good sign. We've got green here, but we do have red here. So we're still in this roly-poly market. So again, you have to have your stop low enough. Here or here is best. Now you can put it here because you did take out this high here. All right, you can do that. I don't think it's taken out that high yet. I'd like to see that some follow through. So I'm not going to recommend it because if this is red, it's still showing it's pulling down somewhat. But that doesn't mean it's going to take out the bottom, nor does it mean it's going to take out this. This is a short-term situation that prices will go just a little bit below probably 70. All right. But as you can see, this stop is way in the 50s just about. All right. So that's kind of where we're at. I like it. I like it long term. Just let's let some of that short-term bearishness work its way out on the 60-minute chart. Yeah, let me remove that to make it just a little clearer so you can see that downtrend that's in place there. All right, so that is Coinbase. All right. Oh, and you're short Coinbase. Okay. Well, I would trade the 60-minute chart. Okay, here. All right. When this turns yellow, get out. And don't trail your stops too close. So basically you're looking at this low here to get out, right about the upper 60s, okay? All right, and you said you are short, not long. All right, no worries there. All right, GETY, G-E-T-Y. Let's take a look at that one. All right, not a bad one now, okay? My only problem right now is, let's see if we got any red PTFs. We do not. All right. So this is a $5.65 stock. And let me just put a little more, we go back just to 2022. So not a ton of history here on this, but check out the fact of this basing pattern. I really like it. So a couple things here with these basing patterns. Okay. So we got a bottom, and this could be a significant bottom here, but we had this, but now it's turned. So that's no longer a problem. So now this could be a significant bottom here. So I actually really like that. You got a little bit of a pullback coming back here. All right, might not be over. Got a little bit of red here, close to going red here. So if your intentions are to hold this for a long time, like a year, you certainly could do very well on this, simply because if we take a look at the rebound area by drawing some fib retracements, we're way the heck up here, right? So we could get the $16 to $23 on that. And that's provided we have a bottom in here. So I'm liking that. And we're pretty close to these bottom levels here. You might get a little bit better entry at some point, but I'm actually going to say this, let's put this on a buy list. I think we're so close to the bottom here, even if it comes back a little bit here, yeah, you might get 50 cents on a better price or something, but I think it's pretty good. But this would have to be something you're willing to hold for a while, okay? So good job finding one that's skirmishing along the bottom. Again, there's some risk with this because if you wanted to wait until it took out this high, then that's a more definitive breakout, so to speak. Okay, we've already had one breakout though, pretty recently, so that's a pretty good sign. But it is possible we could meander a little bit before it does do a significant breakout. So there's two risks here. One, that we may meander, so your money gets tied up. And the other risk is that this has got to be a bottom for this to be a success, but that's most early entries depend on that. But I'm going to put it down as a buy. Okay, I like it for the most part. Good job. All right, Jim, let's take a look at yours. CTRA. CTRA. Okay, so not sure if you're long or just looking at this. Let's open up that weekly chart here. Okay, so we definitely had a wave 3, right? Pretty distinct. And now we've come down ABC, all right? Went into a complex correction because I think that went lower. So this is wave 4. And now it's moved off. So we probably will see higher highs eventually on this at some point. And let's get a target if we can on this. I'm going to call for that as a 2, 3, and all right. So our target's 36 to 50, and we're at 29. And you'd have to put your stop at least under one of these here. So you don't quite have the risk to reward on this. All right. So probably will not recommend this, but if you are long, I think you can stay long. We've got a green owl, green PTF on the short term, and now a green owl here. Okay. So I think I'd like to see a better risk to reward on this before recommending it. But if you are long, just stay long. You should be okay on that. All right. Now let's go to yours. NTAP. NTAP. Let's see what's cooking on that bad boy. This is network appliances, I think. All right, so what do we got cooking on this? You're short on this. All right, so red owl here, green owl here, bearish pyramid, but it was taken out. So the that's negated, and this one was negated too. All right, I think possibly what I like about this is that it's retraced quite a bit, right? So let's first go there. So before going long, let's see how far it's retraced. So it's got into the target zone. So that's a box checked, so to speak. It has gone up twice into the target zone. So if you get 2 times, all right, that even makes the trade more significant for a top, all right? So basically, we're looking maybe now for a big move down further. I don't know if we'll break the low here because this could be a 1, this could be a 2, but we could come down a little bit further. All right, so where is this thing going? It's kind of tough because there's not a heck of a lot of history in terms of movement except back and forth over the last couple of years. So we've had this type of roly-poly stuff. So interesting. All right. Again, it's not clear to me. So when it's not clear on that time frame, I have to go to another time frame. Let's take a look here at the daily time frame. And I gotta tell you, I'm really not sure what's going to happen with this one. All right. We could come back here and then go. So your short position may have a little room. I'd probably use the 60-minute chart for the trade on the short, but I'm not going to recommend it. Okay. Because if this is a significant bottom and it makes one more high on this, roly-poly movement, then you're gonna get stopped out. All right. So no trade on that for me. All right. Let's take a look at your other one, XPEV. XPEV. All right. Let's see what we got cooking here. All right, I definitely would not be short for a trade for a couple of weeks because it's bullish on the daily for the most part and on the weekly. However, okay, there is a scalp trading opportunity here, which is why you probably took the trade. So I would wait for this to go yellow and then exit. So you're probably in a little bit of a pullback, and you may be able to take advantage of that with your short trade. But when you get down to this area, watch this PTF. If it turns yellow, exit. Okay. In fact, I would trail your stops on each price bar once that turns to yellow, or I'd put a limit order in to get out. All right. All right. Let's see what else we got. Yes, GETY is a buy. GETY. We did like that one. All right. Anything else? Let's quickly take a look at our real estate ETF. I'm always like to look at this one because it's kind of given me a heads up into the real estate market. You can see how much it's sold off on pretty much all time frames. And what's interesting to me is we've got still a little bit of a red PTF here. We've got red out here and red here. So it looks like another low is coming, but this is green. So basically, when this bottoms here at some point, if that stays green, then we should have a recovery in real estate. But it's not done coming down yet. It's kind of fun to look at that. All right, let's take a look at T. All right, so let's see what you're doing with this one. All right, so we've got a green PTF, red PTF, and a yellow PTF. So looks to me that the short-term PTF is green. So what will happen first is you'll get a move up to around maybe, close to 15.80 or 16 bucks. However, that may be all you get because this is bearish, indicating more lows coming. So you're probably in a situation here where we're coming up, we're having a little profit taking. So you're coming up here and look at that. There's your 15.96 to 17. So that makes sense. So you're probably going to go into this target, which will satisfy this PTF marking there. But if this remains red, then we can expect selling. So that's how you read that. When the short-term time frame has a different color PTF than the other time frames, that one's going to usually happen first. But the other ones can still be valid because once that PTF is achieved on the short term, then the next time frame kicks in on what's going to happen. All right. So I probably at this point, if you wanted to take a quick scalp trade, you could 15.30. You could try putting your stop here and scalp it up to there for a buck or so. Okay. So I'm not going to recommend this long term for folks out there because this is one you're going to have intraday data to do well on. Okay. All right, let's take a look at your next one, URA. URA. All right, so this one is doing pretty well. Boy, again, all right, my eyes are going to the PTF and I see a red one short term. So we're in a correction pattern. So it's still coming down, correcting. There's profit taking going on after this big move up, which you can see on both the daily and the weekly chart. All right, on the weekly chart, what do we got cooking? Well, we've got a green PTF here. And let's see, we've come down an awful lot on this bad boy. And this goes back to 2011. So let's see what we got here for retracement. I'm just going to grab here and here to get a rough retracement. So this is showing possibly once that we could have a bottom here and working our way up to $54 to $84. Okay, so that's good. And we have a green PTF and green. So that's kind of where this thing is heading. But short term, we're having some profit taking. So short term, we're probably going to be pulling back here a little bit. And we're, pretty close there, but you see the red PTF is indicating it's not over yet. So a little deeper into the target zone, and then I think you're good for a long trade, okay, based on all this in the target zone here. So a little A, B, C, probably coming down into the 23 area. And I say that simply because if this is A wave and this is B wave, then C wave's got to be at least the same amount of distance as A wave. And it can be 1 to 1.6. So that'll put it back into the target range around 23 bucks. Okay. So that's kind of where I'm thinking that's heading. And then after that, that would be a good buy. So I'm going to put URA on a watch list there. I mean, if you wanted to short it short term, you could do that and then get out when the PTF turns yellow. But again, that's requiring an intraday chart, which is the 60-minute chart. And not everybody has that, so I'm not going to recommend that. All right, so let's take a look at your next one, EVTL. EVTL. All right, so this is your bottom fishing on this. I get it, but in this case here, it's not quite done. So the PTF is indicating more lows coming. So this is not most likely a low. This is a 75% accuracy rate. Not 100%, but that's pretty darn good for the markets, 75%. So it's indicating more lows coming. This is why, in order to do this technical analysis stuff, you have to have the right tools, okay? All right, so let's take a look at GPS. And that's why we do these sessions, is not only because they're fun to do and we all pick up picks from it, but the idea is to show you when you have a structured way of using software tools like we do, it enhances your edge, your probability, gives you that edge. All right, so here is a situation where we have possible bottom. All right, let's open up that long-term chart first. All right, way up and way down. Okay, this gives us an opportunity. All right, so if you missed the short trade here, all right, we had one here, and then it looks like it formed another bottom here. So now this is good. We have bullish divergence, and now we have a green, and we've got pyramids coming up. And we've got a P pyramid here, primary pyramid there. So that's a good sign. All right, so that's bullish. Next question is, where is it going? That's a tough question. So is this a bottom that held on this big pullback and we're going much higher from here? Pretty tough to say. So what I would do is let's do at least this and see where we come across here. So I'm going to say probably realistically, we can hope for maybe a $17 to $24 target. And that's pretty good. All right, you still got some good room. All right, and I think if you put your stop under here, you can still maintain a decent risk to reward. So I'm liking that. We've got green here, not too bad here. We had a little bit of pullback. I'm liking this. Okay, so let's put this one down as a buy, GPS. I'd like you to put your stop here. Okay, do not put it here. Okay, we got to get above here before you can move it up under here. All right, so at this particular time, stop's got to go, below the $10 mark. But that gives you plenty of room because the target's 17, right? So 10, you got a point. That's almost like a 6 to 7 to 1 risk to reward in your favor. So that is a good one, okay, GPS. All right. Boy, Al, you were a bastion of picks today. PFE. Let's see what PFE is, and we all know that's Pfizer. All right. Now, this is kind of interesting. Plummeting, okay, absolutely plummeting. All right. So we've got bullish divergence building here, right? We do have green here, but I'm a little skeptical because this is very close to going red. So this may be one of the 25% times it's wrong on the short-term chart. Plus, you'd be going against a qualified pyramid there, and one there, and one there. All right. Too late to short. It's too far gone. Okay. But I would probably say possibly maybe a bottom coming up on this, but you got quite a bit of time. I don't even think I'd put this on a watch list right now. Okay. So no go on that. If you've been short and you're short already, then have your stop right at that pyramid right here on the daily chart, that little itty bitty one right there. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at GSAT. GSAT. And see how that one is looking. Okay. So kind of a messy chart. So when I see a messy chart like this, pretty difficult to get an Elliott wave count, right? And there's not a lot of history. It goes back to 213, which is not a lot of history for stocks. The only thing I see is this indicator here that you could possibly use to scalp this. Find the highest high in that area, okay? And that's going to be this level right here. All right, so that's your target, $3. And this is a penny stock, so it's 135, right? Right now, over here. So you do have a 100% return probability here, all right? I would try to get your stop at around just under this level here. And a little pullback here, okay, a little bit of red here, but this is green. I'm kind of thinking, all right, penny stock, okay for some people, maybe not for everybody, but I'm going to put this on the buy list, okay? This is one that I think it could be a scalp trade. No Elliott wave count here, just a pure scalp trade based on this indicator. So with a 75% probability, we have likelihood of getting up here. Now, what could keep this trade from being profitable even with a 75% probability? Well, it's where you're going to put your stop, okay? So I'd like you to put your stop under this level here if you can, all right? You still got good risk to reward there. And that way it gives it some room for some volatility. So, you know, you can always get stopped out on trades. So the PTF could be right and you could still get stopped out. But if you give it that much room, I think it's okay. So GST looks pretty good. Oh, my old favorite, AMAT. All right, so Applied Materials. Moving up, it looks like into a wave 5. But let's just, yeah, that's a wave 5, all right. So here's your big 3, right? Here's your 4, and here's your 5. So we're heading on up. Now, it doesn't mean, again, you can't get a pullback before it goes up. All right, certainly could. You're getting in a little late on this wave 5. All right, so just be aware of that. Let's see where this thing could be going. Do a little bit of an extension here. Where do I want to put this bad boy? I think I'm going to put it right here, to here, to here. So we're getting pretty close to the target, right? Okay. So I'm probably at this point going to say no on this, simply because getting in around here versus getting in around here is definitely more risky, right? So we could get profit taking before it goes. So if this pulls back out to around maybe around 100 to 110, let's look at it again, okay? Then I think it's a buy. But otherwise, for right now, little too late, okay? All right, GSAT we looked at already. Let's take a look at ADSK. ADSK. All right, let's open up that weekly chart. There's your wave 3, okay? Wave 3s you just can't miss. Look at that, okay? So 3, looks like 4 is over, and we're going up on 5. So now let's do a target on 5. And I'm going to put that just right here, here, and here. So we got a lot of room to go. We're at 210 and the target's between 349 and 464. So that is good. It hasn't really broken away that severely yet, right? So we can get a pretty good entry probably. All right, and we've got green here, a little red here, but I'm going to give this a go, okay? I'm going to put this down as a buy, ADSK. All right, I want you to put your stop as low as you can on this. I'd like it here. You can do here, great, but here. Now you can always do an option. If sometimes, when you are looking at a market and if the stop is so far away that it would lower your trade size so much that the trade doesn't make sense, use an option, okay? Buy at the money or a little in the money, all right? So you can get a higher delta on that, okay? So the price of the premium moves as close as possible to the underlying asset. You'll never get it 100%, but close. All right, so this is a go, ADSK. Good job. All right, let's take a look at NVAX for Mark. Good job, Alan Knows. Very good. All right, Mark, let's see what you got cooking on this one. Let's open up this bad boy. All right, wow, look at that. All right, tough to get any type of Elliott wave count on that one, right? All right, so what I like about this is this baby right here is green, okay? I also like this getting closer to the 0 line. So, I mean, this is huge, okay? We're talking about a high here, according to the PTF, to eventually be taken out on the next rally, next big trend up. So that's huge. That's going to take years to get up there, all right? That's not going to happen in a year. That's going to take years. So that's one thing you have to kind of, you know, realize. If you're going to go into that, you're going to be in that for a long time. But, you know, definitely we've got a bottoming effect here. Now, we got a little bit of a red PTF on the 60-minute chart, so it's still coming down. Let's make sure this bottom holds. So here's the bottom here, right? Let's make sure that baby holds. So let it come down as much as it wants. And if the bottom holds and we start coming back up, let's wait for a green here, yellow here, and take out some of these levels here, okay, before we go long. So put this one on a watch list, all right, and keep watching it. And we can look at it next week. But don't do it yet, okay? Now, even if, okay, just one sideline here on this one. Even if you want to take this as a shorter term trade, well, use a retracement target zone, okay? So if that bottom holds and we're looking for 95 to 150 instead of the amazing, you know, 350. So that is still a great trade short term. You could take that, and basically that target is based off the daily chart. And you'll get there a lot quicker than having to wait for so long, okay? So, you know, you can decide how you want to do this. You can also make this when it's time to go in. It's not yet because you got a red PTF here in the 60. But when it's time to go in, you can almost take two trades. You can take a long-term and a shorter-term trade, okay? All right, let's see what else we got out there. Al's got FCEL. That is the battery company, I believe. All right, FCEL. All right, so this has come down a lot. I remember when this one back in the early 20s was pretty popular, but now it's retraced the whole way. But it did create a green PTF like that other one we looked at for, I believe market was on that. So what do we do with this? All right, so you got a green PTF on the short term, but you got a pullback. You got a pyramid there. So red here and a slight pyramid here. Let's see if we get any follow through. Here's what I want to see. I want to see this high taken out. You need to get above that high. And then if you do, you can go long. All right. So let's put this on a watch list and take a look at it next week. May take a couple weeks before that's ready. All right. Now let's see. MU. Take a look at that bad boy. It's Micron. Let's see. Okay, so that is, let's open up the weekly chart and see. Little roly-poly on its way up. That high here. Okay, pretty roly-poly here. All right. You got possibly a scalp trade, but your risk to reward's not there. I would not do anything with this, okay? Why mess with this when we got better ones that we looked at, okay? One side note here that's kind of fun, though. You see how the pyramids are blue here, and they're green here and red here? When you see blue pyramids like here, notice you got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, all right? You got 2 pointing up and 2 pointing down. That's the software isolating that channel for you. So whichever way it breaks, it will confirm the pyramids that are pointing in that direction and indicate a long situation. If it breaks to the downside, the long pyramids that are blue will go away and we'll be stuck with the red ones, okay? So that's the software doing its job. It's doing a nice job with that. All right, now let's see, let's take a look at your next one, RNG, right? RNG. All right, bottom fishing one here. All right, right away, we've got PTFs. All right, so this is an example on the 60-minute where the PTF went from red to green. So this is one of the 25% times it was wrong. All right. But it's green now. So now it clears the way for looking for a long trade rather than a short trade based on that indicator. My only thing here is that okay, we've got green here. Boy, this is so close. We've got a bullish pyramid. This is pretty steep. And this one, again, is close to going red. So, you know, this is pretty close to the bottom. Here's what I would do with this. All right. You're super risky to go long here. But I think the better thing to do is let's see how far down this comes and see if this bottom does indeed hold. And don't worry, because if it comes down a little further or base is here, you're not going to miss it. Okay, we'll go into it when this owl here turns green and this stays green versus goes red. So let's put this. This is one of the best ones so far to put on the watch list. So this one you want to watch like a hawk, because if things turn bullish over the next week or two on this, this is a go. Okay, but for right now it's not. All right, just can't do it. So I'd like it to get above a high. Notice we also too have some pyramids here that are blue, again, like the other ones. So it's isolating this channel. If we can break above there, that will turn green. And by then this will be green as well. And hopefully this will stay green here, or at least maybe turn yellow at some point. You can go long or short on the yellow PTF. I just don't like to go against them. Okay. So I'm liking this. Now let's just wait. It's steep pullback and it's still coming down. So why enter on a falling knife, so to speak? Okay. But that is an excellent one. So circle that one for your watch list and watch it. And let's take a look at that for sure next week. Okay. CVS. All right. Okay, so CVS, this is kind of, let's take a look at the long-term chart on this one. All right, there is a 3 here, possibly 4, 5. But this owl here looks higher than this one. So this still may be in an overall 3. Okay, but definitely moving down now. And on the daily chart, it looks like we might have a retracement trade possibility, which is, I kind of think what you're looking at here. And that means that this could go 80 to 90, even if it's going to sell off again. Okay. So you got a nice pyramid trading point entry. I'm going to put this as a buy. Okay. And I put my stop, if you can, under here, but for risk to reward, let's put it right here under the pyramid. Okay. And lighten up on the trade size that you would normally use, because you still have a red owl on the weekly chart. Okay. So this one is a buy from the technical standpoint. Probably not my favorite one, simply because I'd like to put my stop at the bottom, but that would decrease the risk to reward. So I'm forced to put it a little closer on that pyramid, but that's okay because it went above here. But yeah, it's a buy. And that is CVS. All right, anything else? Anybody else? It was a good session. My gosh, a lot of stocks looked at today. All right, so if that's it, then let me go over real quickly. Let me just mention, there's so many here that I won't bring up the charts individually on these, but let's just wrap up here and go over the winners. So we had UNG, the ETF for natural gas. That's a buy. We had GETY, GPS, GSAT, GSAT, ADSK, and CVS. All right, all buys today. Now remember, if you're thinking about going into these, run these by your financial advisor or money manager to be sure they're suitable for you. Okay, but those are all winners. Okay, and great job. I mean, really great job. We looked at a lot today and we found a good handful. We found 6. All right, so even though the market's pretty volatile these days, It is a stock picker's market, as it usually is. So there's always some out there. The needle in the haystack is out there. You just got to dig deep enough to find it, right? But the trading tools help us do that. All right, so that is it for today. Great session. All right, really great job. You guys are awesome. All right, so let me, I'm going to put a little music on, and before we shut the room down, and we'll see you back here next week. And again, bring some of those next week that were on the possible list over, okay? All right, Al gets the Rockstar Award today, for sure. All right, but I think everybody here has done a great job. All right, so this is the MES on our day trading time frame. You know, we run a day trading room. This is 15 seconds. This is 1 minute, and this is 5 minutes. We're heading down here for more lows. Look at the PTFs here and here. Too late to really go short here because the short entries were all up here. But I'll leave it here, and you can watch the market, the MES, unfold in real time, okay? And see what that looks like. All right, so I'll put a little music on. Have a great weekend, everybody, and let's pray the Middle East situation gets resolved as peacefully as possible, okay? All right, have a good week. Bye-bye.